Hello guys and welcome to the February update in Michis Esport Diary. So guys, it has been an absolutely crazy February, but as you would imagine, this video to start with a big Le Mans Ultimate release, we're gonna keep that. We're gonna not talk about the Le Mans Ultimate release as such, as this is going to be a special video probably coming in the mid of March. I'm gonna do a small special episode of Michis Esport Diary because I think that Le Mans Ultimate is a bit of a bigger topic that would otherwise make this format explode in terms of duration and everything. Since February has been pretty packed with racing regardless. So where do we start? I think best to start with Virtual Endurance Championship race. The Virtual Endurance Championship race has been amazing, a joke, and a disappointment after all. Now you guys will be like, huh? You finished on the podium, you almost finished second, so what is the joke about? And I know Jimmy Ellison is watching this, and I'm absolutely fine because I have my opinion on it. I've had a discussion with him. And I'm gonna also shed a little bit of light of what has happened in the aftermath. So I want to point this out. I appreciate Jimmy Ellison and the way he applies rules. There is no bullshit in between. There is black and white as much as it is possible. And according to the rules, everything is pitch perfect. So I'm not mad on Jimmy Ellison. I am maybe mad on myself for not having attempted to do a Daytona 24 in January, but okay. And as much as I never had an issue with the rule set in that way, Virtual Endurance Championship thing is a quite unique one. It's also quite special one. Probably also, Jimmy will say the rule has been created for exactly that event. I think beside all circumstances, that rule is still wrong in a way. But I'll give you guys your own, the chance to have your own opinion on it. And let me know what you think down in the comments area below. I'm pretty sure Jimmy will be like, nah, I don't want to read this out, or I don't even want to listen, but maybe he's gonna have a look anyway. Okay, so here's the scene. For those of you that watched that 6 hours of Road America race, I've done it together with Tuka Häkkinen in my own entry. I have raced 4 hours and 12 minutes in a row from start to, 4 hours and 12 minutes into the race. Tuka brought the car home, sadly had an issue in the last 15 minutes, but we capitalized on other things. So after all, we finished in P3. Personally, I was absolutely stoked and pumped. With the results. It was really an awesome day. A great performance from me personally. I was really happy on it, and I was like, God damn, we got a freaking podium again with limited practice, but just with good driving and a good track performance. So it took only 50 minutes or 60 minutes after the race that I then found out on the forum that I've been relegated to Division 2. Right, so why have we been relegated into Division 2? It's because in the Virtual Endurance Championship there is a rule saying after every 2 races, the car that has scored the least amount of points will be relegated into Div 2, and on the other side, the car with the most scored points from Div 2 is going to be relegated to Div 1. And this is where the point of disagreement comes in, because my car, our entry, the car that has been used from Burst Esport before, like call it what you want, it's the same entry. The entry has done 1 DNS in Daytona, which is unfortunate, which would have been a calendar infringement we couldn't have fixed anyway, even if Burst would still have existed, most likely. Either way, we've done 5 out of the 6 races, and in 3 out of those 5 races we finished on the podium. Yet though the car is going to be relegated into the second division, second class. And that was a hard one to swallow, because, you know, if you look at the rules, yes, with a DNS or did not start in Daytona, there was no way in hell. I could have even won that race in Road America. We would have still been relegated into Division 2. So again, according to the rules, nothing been put out wrong by Jimmy or the Simracing Club administration. They've just applied the rules, nothing else. But man, it's so frustrating, really. Like, you're working your ass off, and of course, could have known 5 weeks earlier with Daytona around the corner and all that calendar infringements. I mean, it is what it was. I've obviously tried talking to consider circumstances, but the rules are clear. So we are going to race from Division 2 now on. On the bright side of life, we can still deliver a full race 100% on board. But we're sitting in Division 2 for the moment. And we would now need to win, I don't know, both races or get P1, P2 and have a different winner than the guy in P2 in one race. Like, there is a couple of math things to do in order to make it back up to Division 1. Is it the ambition? Generally speaking, yes. Is it realistic? I don't know. Because I'm going to obviously race with, for this race now, coming up the 1,000 miles of Sebring, I'm going to race together with Thomas Toomey, who has originally been our ACC engineer and is ACC based. But anyway, we are motivated to keep the car going, to do the job. And you know what? We just try and do it with fun. And there is, from my point of view, a very, very good chance that we're going to be stuck in Division 2 till the end of the year. And then hopefully for next year, if the Tour Endurance Championship is still happening, we may file an entry and hopefully get back into Div 1. And then whatever it takes, I will make sure to not drop back to Division 2 again. Because, I mean, the ultimate reason why we have failed to keep it in Div 1 is simply because we haven't got the participation points in from Daytona. And I think in Division 1 you get like 45 or 50 points just for participating, and then like a 30 points for the win. So again, I could have won Road America, would have been made the difference. Obviously, SRC administration says the rule is in place, so people show up and not just like do a couple of races and then not show up and pretend like nothing has happened. So I get that, but yeah, again, a car that has proven its capability of Division 1, that has finished 50 times, 50% of the times of the races on the podium, is now being considered second class at best. That's it. So yeah, I'm still frustrated about it, but okay, I'm trying to take it with a smile. Right, guys, next topic, F1 Creator Series. And last time I did this video, I've just had that awesome race around Japan, I think, in Suzuka, where we finished on the podium. Ever since, the results haven't been that good. I think a couple of P9s, a P10, a P11, have not had the best of performances. And that said, in the last 4 weeks, there has been a very interesting dynamics in that F1 Creator Series, as the level of competition, the quality of drivers in that series has risen quite rapidly. And it makes it more and more difficult for me to keep up with, you know, the limited and small amount of practice that I do. As far as I understand, Creator Series is all about, like, you know, just jumping in, have a tiny little bit of practice, and then like just go and race. However, I think a couple of people are trying to achieve good results, therefore doing maybe an hour more of practice. And then there's obviously also the fact that I'm not a native F1 23 gamer, therefore I'm not sweating the game. I'm not getting the muscle memory and so on. I'm not getting the 100% perfect feeling as in what you need to do with the car, how the car drives, how you need to manipulate the steering in order to get maximum performance, whether that is a rear slide through hairpins or a short shift out of hairpins and traction zones. Those are the things that kind of, I understood them, I got them. Sometimes also maximizing the track limits. But I still believe there is a difference between me doing RF2 Le Mans Ultimate whatsoever all the time, for like 80% of the time that I do sim racing, and streamers like Tiamat Marduk, Meraki, also Jake, Tom Brewer, Alex Gillen, although Alex also on iRacing, but like core messages, most of the people racing in the F1 Creator Series are F1 game creators. They know the game, they know all the bugs, they know all the techniques. They go into a track and they do not even think about whether they have to overfuel, underfuel, fuel save, whatsoever. They just do it because they have shed ton of experience on the game, and I have not, and that's fine. It would be the same for them if they would come to R Factor 2 in Le Mans Ultimate to a certain extent. But that is not the point. The point is that this competition has been extremely strong, and I've been really privileged and really proud to have been part of that series for so long now. However, since we're moving into summer times, warmer temperatures, longer days, a little bit more outdoor activity, I've decided to retire from the F1 Creator Series as a full-time driver at the end of season 5, that is. I want to make it back into Creator Series in the future, that's for sure. As the retirement it's not down to the performance as such. Of course, it plays a role. It's not like I'm having a chance to really win races, but ultimately it's a time thing. I have a little too little time to keep up with it every other Saturday. A girlfriend's also not too happy to waste every other Saturday, and or not waste, but like to not have me around. And ultimately, with the stronger competition coming up, would be obviously more and more frustrating to be like, you know what, I spend the time with my girl and like even not do the last little bit of practice at all. That wouldn't be good for me within the Creator Series. That would not look good in Creator Series as well if I keep missing apexes and not be able to place the car correctly and so on. So for the time being, that is the decision. I will, however, remain racing as a reserve. So if there's ever the possibility, when we have bad weather outside maybe, I know a couple of guys are not there, then I'm happily there to fill up. But for the time being, I think it's best for both sides, for me personally and with my relationship, as well as for Creator Series to, give my spot to someone that really deserves it, that's really down for it and is ready to sweat this out. Because it is quite, with all the stuff that's going on for me in eSport, there's all the stuff that's going on for me in streaming, RF2, Le Mans Ultimate and so on. 12 races in 12 weeks is quite exhausting when it comes to a full season package. You can do that one season, maybe 2 seasons, but if you have it as a continuum, I don't know. Would be a total different story if we look to R Factor 2 or Le Mans Ultimate and say we can, we are in that game. That is what we do. That is what is our key market anyway. But before we talk too long about the topic, that's it. The Jeddah Grand Prix this upcoming weekend is going to be my final race for the moment. And we are still 20 points ahead of Alpine for the final race. We want to grab the championship. I'm giving it my best I can on Sunday. Practice once again will be compromised as we have the 1,000 miles of Sebring in the Virtual Endurance Championship, despite Division 2, coming up this weekend as well. So yeah, it's going to be a busy week, and I hope that we can finish the Creative Season Series on a high with another Constructors title. That would be absolutely amazing. Right, that's it for F1 CS. Last but not least, there is 2 more things to have a look about. The one thing that has started the past Sunday was the Formula Simracing World Championship 2024 season. A race where I've once again maybe have not prepared well enough for. On the other hand, I think we've had a little bit of a special effect with, I think, 3 of the 4 pre-season test races to have been in Bahrain. So within a 6 or 7 week period, that was the 4th race for everyone to race in Bahrain. And a couple of guys have already been prepared like for a World Championship race coming into that test race already. So surely competition was tighter than I expected throughout the entire year. On the other hand, qualifying was a little bit like a cold shower. I have expected myself to be on the back foot, to be not in the very top position, to be not in the very top performance level as well. But P15, that was a bit of a cold one. We had an amazing start, made it up to P12 in lap 1, and from then on applied an aggressive strategy which secured us P9 in the end. A couple of seconds off P8, but still a good 8-9 seconds off P7 or P6, where I had said this is actually where I want to finish, and this is also where I think I should have finished in terms of skill level. At the very least, like skill level combined with a limited amount of practice. Either way though. On the other hand, we finished in P9 with less than 20 seconds gap to the lead. For comparison, if you finish with less than 20 seconds compared to the lead in F1, you're on the podium. So that is how tight that race was in Bahrain. And I don't mean the F1 race, which was a big, boring bummer. But I mean the Formula Simracing World Championship race, where there was a lot more action going on, that's for sure. Either way though, I'm kind of happy with P9, considering the fact it's only 20 seconds off the lead on 19 point something. But P9 is obviously not the sporting expectation of myself, so I need to see how to get on with this in the future. I have to admit that I struggled to get on pace with the car. I struggled to put the setup out. In the end, I've chosen a setup option that I knew would not deliver peak performance on the car, but I had to kind of choose it in order to make it drivable for me as soon as the tires were wearing out. Because in the testing I had that issue like 3, 4, maybe 5 laps before the stint would come to an end. My rear got so much all over the place that I was losing more time on the better setup than I was gaining over the worse setup in the beginning of the laps. So long story short was I had to compromise my car performance for drivability. And of course, one of the targets will be to maybe work that 1 or other hour more. In that regard, obviously, the release of Le Mans Ultimate hasn't helped, but I hope that we can improve the situation in the next 2 weeks, so that Formula Sim racing races are going to be better. And yeah, then we're gonna take it from there, I guess. There's not much more to say about that race 1. Again, at the same time, it was a good race, it was a good performance to make it P9 coming out of P15, staying clean in the race, not doing any mistakes, and doing overall a solid job after all. And at the same time, disappointment about that it's just enough for P9 at the minute. And I think that is the point where I need to improve a little bit. So guys, last but not least, Formula Racing League has been announced on Race Department, and the season sadly has been moved. I think it now starts somewhere. It should have started yesterday, but it's now starting somewhere end of March, beginning of April, for more sign-ups, so that we get a better grid, fuller grids, maybe even 2 splits. Guys, check out Race Department and the Formula Racing League there. It is an interesting the style of racing. I think the calendar is now shortened to 4 races only. Are we going to do NASCAR kind of racing? So we have a full 60-minute race, a 60-some-minute race. We're gonna have a couple of sprints. So we have I think like something like 6 laps, 18 laps, another 7 laps of small heat sprints within the overall race, and then the overall race result gets you points, but the stages after like lap 6 and then additional 18 laps is another stage. You get more points for these stages, and you have to do a strategic pit stop at the same time. So there's a lot of things that you need to think about it. There's a lot of things in that Formula Racing League that lead to a very interesting dynamic for those races and also for the championship. And I think after those 4 races, it's the top 16 going into the playoffs for the finals. So I think there is action-packed racing going on, and I think you guys will be looking forward. I will be looking forward. The Formula Pro car on R-Factor 2, one of my all-time favorite cars for sure. So yeah, that is the other thing in the making in the period of March. And then of course, if we're looking further ahead, I think it's Melbourne, Australia in 2 weeks' time on the Formula Simracing World Championship. And then on the 1st of April, we have round 3 already. If I could remember the track, that would be amazing. Right now, from the top of my head, I can't recall what it was. Before I spread fake news, I'd just say it's going to be round 3. Then also, I've already spoken about 1,000 miles of Sebring happening this weekend. And then, this upcoming weekend, also the final race for the Creator Series. Then in the mid of March, we're going to have a Michis Esport Diary special about Le Mans Ultimate. And beyond that, we're going to look forward what March is bringing, especially with Le Mans Ultimate out. A lot of things have started to take some turns. We have a big number of players on Le Mans Ultimate right now, also still a big number of players on R-Factor 2, so that's giving me good hope that we have a really, really good product still that is interesting for everyone. And let me know, guys, what you think about the stories that I had for you ready today. Certainly bit of mixed feelings taking that video, between frustration, happiness, a little bit of wave goodbye, and a little bit of struggles when we're talking about FSR, right? Nothing we have been too used to in the last couple of years, but this is it. Times are changing sometimes. Safe to say we're not going through the most prosperous and through the most flourish times in sim racing in the first place. And then last but not least, I think for March, the other big thing is iRacing, and it's rain support. I've seen some footages that are interesting to look at, especially from a racing perspective, as it seems that the iRacing environment will use wet racing lines as being probably the only sim that really features the wet racing line over the dry racing line. You know, when you come to R-Factor 2 and Le Mans Ultimate, after all, it's just like dry line, even in the wet, just with less grip. However, we will see how that goes. I'm skeptic. You guys know that I'm not the biggest fan of iRacing, and the way iRacing drives, that little to no grip, and that's very special way of driving. I see myself slip and slide and die in the rain. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Guys, any thoughts on this? Sorry for another 25 minutes of this. Of course, has been another video 10 minutes too long. But yeah, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Any comments? Anything you'd like to tell me, anything you'd like to ask me, put it down in the comments area below. Please give the video a like, subscribe us on the channel, ring the bell for more videos in the future about Le Mans Ultimate and R Factor 2. And then guys, have a great rest of the week. See you. Bye bye.